started in 1977, you know, 25 years, aside from having the computer now, how have you changed as an artist?
Oh, first of all, if there were computers in '77, they weren't available to everybody, so I certainly didn't have one. So I remember in '77, what I did was I had a piano, and then I made cassette recordings. Remember the cassette tape? That's
side A, side B.
Yeah, so basically I put all my ideas down on a cassette tape, and then from the cassette tape, I would hand write them out. And the other thing that's interesting nowadays, that one of the big differences is, I actually relied a lot more on the musicians, because I didn't really have parts for them. And it was the old school jazz way of, well, I want this feel. And nowadays, with the computer, every note, everything can be specified.
Right.
And everything is, make a demo ahead of time, is very clear what you want. But back then, you really had to rely on the musicians to come up with ideas and contribute.
And in the span of 25 years, you've worked with so many of those musicians. In concerts, you've written songs for a lot of people, a slew of people. Are there any favorites, like most memorable collaborations?
Yeah, there's a few. I enjoyed my collaborations with Russ Freeman and the Rippingtons. We wrote some great songs together, and I've done some great collaborative work with Dave Koz, sax player, and let me think for a moment. Rick Braun, mostly artists in the contemporary jazz field that I've collaborated with, and Rick and I have written some cool songs, and looking forward to collaborating with Brian McKnight, because I'm doing all of his symphony arrangements. This is a lot of work, but I did collaborate with him one time before on the Charlie Brown album.
Yeah.
And he sang, he did a beautiful arrangement of Christmas Time Is Here. That's kind of how I got to know him.
Right.
And now I'm really excited to be doing this for him.
But Brian McKnight, more soulful, more R&B.
Yes.
So you are probably excited. Are you still challenged to blend that kind of music, his kind of music, and jazz?
It's a big challenge. You're absolutely right. I have been putting a lot of hours into this because, in this one song he has, It Should Have Been You, it's all R&B. I mean, really the way the drums sound, they're all like a drum machine and very techno. And how do you translate that to a Korean youth orchestra?
Yes.
And that has been a challenge, which I think is going to have good results, but I've been working very hard to make the transition from, and Brian's been great. He's not giving me any direction, anything. Just do it. Just do it.
He trusts you enough.
He trusts me. Yeah, I was very nice, because I called him and I said, let's have a meeting. So he lives in the other end, about as far you could go in LA and still be in LA, and that's Chatsworth.
Oh no, I think he's going to be our next interview.
So yeah, so you have some, it's a ways out. So I went out there and I met Brian, and our meeting was 15 minutes long, because he was just totally cool. He was like, do your thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I was all prepared for a lot of note-taking. And
so driving was longer than the meeting.
Oh, the driving was almost 4 hours total. It was one of those days with a lot of traffic. And
is that how, what role does music play in your life? When you're stuck in traffic, are you always listening to music? You have two pianos here. You're a family of musicians. Your wife plays the piano. Your daughter plays the violin. Is it to that extent that music has this effect?
Oh, music is my mistress. I mean, that's the old saying. But most musicians, especially the ones that have really accomplished a lot and move around like in different types of music, like I always think of Leonard Bernstein, who was a conductor, who was a pianist, who was an arranger, who was a spokesman, or Andre Previn or John Williams. Their life is music. You're consumed by it. And that's because we love what we do.
Right.
And in fact, for a lot of musicians, it's very difficult to even take vacations. We're always afraid of losing work, or we just have to force ourselves to take a little break once in a while.
Is it ever a chore, though, music? Are there times when you have to come up with an arrangement, but nothing, there's no inspiration, there's nothing?
I'm pretty inspired, but I'll say this, and they say it's 90% perspiration, 10%, and even with the Brian McKnight work that I'm doing to translate that to Korean Youth Orchestra, it is a lot of just sitting in front of the computer, listen to a song for a minute, type something in the computer, okay, try that. So it's not all happiness playing and audience, applauding. There's a lot of just hard work that goes into it.